Welcome back to another episode of the Wrestling Aroundup with me, Terry Peters, and I am joined by my illustrious co-host. I wasn't here last week, so I could be wrong with what I'm about to say, but are we still Corvette driving?
Corvette driving, Corvette selling, yeah.
Corvette selling. Is it going through?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay. Okay. Corvette drivers, you are, and Corvette selling, world-renowned wrestling and journalist Aaron Franklin. Aaron, how are we doing?
Tired. How about you?
Yeah, very much the same. And I'm falling out with my microphone very quickly. Yeah, I can't believe it's only, I almost say it's Wednesday and it's fucking Tuesday.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's mental. Yeah, tired. Tired old boy. We'll jump right into it then. Today, as we're recording, is a historic day in the wrestling landscape. The WWE is no longer solely owned by the McMahon family. It has now officially merged with Endeavor and the UFC and is now under TKO.
Yep, that's
I
correct.
think it's called. And I
Now
think
trading, or it's TKO. That's correct.
yeah, which I mean, quite a cool name to be fair. Makes sense. How do you feel about this in
Yeah,
terms of how monumental it could be?
and they're gonna have a lot more money behind them, aren't they?
Yes, they
Hopefully,
are.
hopefully now, because I've also been on like a hiring ban for talent. I mean, we'll get
Well,
into it with one
we'll
of
get
the other
into yeah.
into one a little bit later in the
Put a
show.
pin in it.
However,
We'll put a pin in that one.
we're going to see more returns.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see quite a few over the next couple of weeks because there has been rumours, hasn't there, over the last week of talent being signed for a few months,
Yeah.
and not being used as of yet. But yeah, it was a 17.3 billion pound merger, which is just crazy. UFC owns the Endeavor Group Holdings, which control 51% of the new public trading company, and TKO Group Holdings, while WWE shareholders hold 49% rather, and the business is led by Endeavour chief Ari Emanuel.
Mm.
I am gonna stick a thought out there. I think we'll see more crossovers between the two now. I think you'll see more WWE people on UFC and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not
Not maybe not
as
in the
talent, but
rings and
just
octagons, but I think as sort of special guests and in the crowd
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff, I think you'll
100%.
see it.
Yeah,
Um,
because Rey Mysterio was at a UFC show recently, but they spelled his name wrong.
which Mysterio Ray,
Ray.
right? RAY.
Yeah,
Excellent. Right. We're off to a solid start then.
yeah,
We are
100%.
we are off to a solid start.
I mean,
Sorry, go on.
what's crazy is obviously Vince McMahon's now in charge of the wrestling part of the company.
Yes, and from what we understand from Raw last night, there was a few changes, and it felt very
Yeah,
Vince McMahon from what I've read. But
and then
again, we'll leave that for a little
Triple
bit.
H is in charge of creative, so we'll
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. I
I
mean, he's done a
wonder.
really good job over the last year and a bit, hasn't he? But
Yeah,
now
I would
Vince is
say.
back. Is Vince just going to start pulling more strings? That's as we'll
Yeah,
get into shortly.
I think Triple H is probably has done a good job. I think there's probably been one or two misslips in there, but I think that's always going to happen. Not everything can be as good as what people expect it to be.
100%.
Um, but yeah, Vince coming back into control or sort of getting a bit more control is always worrying. So Dana White has become the UFC's new CEO, and Vince McMahon has been appointed as TKO's executive chairman. That'll be interesting to watch how that unfolds as well, to see what he tries to pull as executive chairman, what pull he's got.
Mm.
Obviously now with anything wrestling related, there are other board of directors. It's not solely the McMahon family, so whether that will make changes or not unexpected, or whether he has to do, I guess it'll be sort of more of a sales pitch from him now to try and
Yeah,
get to change stuff.
in regards to what we see on TV, I don't think there's going to be a great deal change.
No,
I
I
think
don't either. I
I
don't
think
either.
I think Endeavour are just going to say you carry on running the company as you're running it because it's a very profitable company.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Year on year, the past few years, they've made more and more money. I think where it's going to change potentially is pay-per-views. And
Yes.
I think maybe new markets
Yeah.
as they've been testing with India, with UK, with Saudi. I think we might start seeing. more of those.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, and I think those are the sort of things that he will have to sell to a board of directors. And I think that's probably why they put him in the position that he is, because he knows obviously wrestling inside out, and Dana White knows UFC mixed martial arts inside out. So
Mhm.
again, I guess Dana White he's the equivalent of Vince McMahon, isn't he? Just under a different title, but for UFC. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how it unfolds. I have a feeling there's probably going to be some internal power struggle just in that initial sense between creative and the head, because we know what Vince McMahon is like. Hopefully it doesn't happen or doesn't affect things on TV, but I agree. I think it'll be looking at sort of new TV channels, where to promote the shows, going into new countries rather. So obviously WWE were in India last week, weren't they?
Mhm.
Um, I think that was something that was sort of tried to be done before the pandemic, and then obviously that hit and wiped everything out. So I don't think that ever happened, but it was something they were looking at. But whether we'll see potentially premium live events come from India now, like we do Saudi Arabia and have seen in the UK the last 2 years, remains to be seen. But for me, if we get more UK shows, I think that's good, because there's definitely a market from it here that we've certainly seen across WWE and AEW over the last 2 years.
They need to
Um,
deliver now, don't they? Because John Cena's teased WrestleMania, so they need to
yeah,
deliver.
I think that's the big thing. It's now getting a WrestleMania over here, and I don't care what people say. It will just be snapped up within minutes. Those tickets, I think people are clamoring for something like that. Even if they
Yeah,
did a SummerSlam to start with, you know what I mean? Just one of the big four to start with, and then maybe waited for it to see how that goes before they
yeah.
put their eggs in the
I,
WrestleMania basket.
but I think if they do WrestleMania over here, they need to market it differently to how they did Clash. For one, they need a major city.
Yeah, I agree
Sec-
with that. Well, I mean,
second,
obviously Cardiff is the capital of Wales, but I understand what you're saying. I think it needs to be London based personally.
yeah, I mean, and then secondly, they've been embarrassed by AEW. They need to do it on a big scale. They
Yeah,
need
well,
to
that's it. I mean,
realistically, they need to do Wembley, and they need to do Wembley over 2 nights, but squeeze more seats in there because there was plenty of space. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
well, that's the thing. I mean, as much as on this podcast we do tend to sort of joke about Tony Khan, he, as to be fair, nailed his flag to a mast, didn't he, this year, and it
Hmm.
has paid off really well for him. And I totally get why they're doing it next year as well. Totally get it. It wouldn't surprise me if they do some sort of UK show every year now going forward.
Well,
Because
I think it all in is going to be the UK show.
yes,
I
I
think it's a
probably
given.
would agree with that. But like now they've done that, I mean, it's just getting WWE have got something to aspire to, haven't they? Which is a weird thing to say, but they know what the marker is, and it's now them to try and get it. But I think there could easily be a couple more seating sections on that ground floor, on that ground from what we saw
Yeah, I mean,
when we were there.
there's nowhere else they could. It needs to be Wembley.
It
There's
has to
the,
be,
they
because
could,
obviously it's the
they
biggest
could,
stadium within the UK, isn't it?
but they need to somehow do something different to show, in Triple H's words, show the pissant company up. Because if you
Yeah,
can if you can get 100,000 tickets per night, that's 200,000 tickets over 2 nights.
yeah, it'd have to be. It'd have to be. Over 2 nights. The only other one that they could potentially do it at, but I don't know how good this would be, because it's not a stadium being to is Twickenham, which holds 82,000. But I don't know.
Is that seated?
Yes, that's seated.
So then
So
you've got your floor after that as well, haven't you?
yeah, and Wembley's 90,000 with plus floor. So I think if they're going to do it, it'd be one of those two. Personally, I think it would be Wembley though that they would go for, but Twickenham is another option.
Hmm.
Because beyond that, you've got Old Trafford, which would be crap for a wrestling event, and then you've got the Principality. So really, they did the fourth biggest stadium when we went
Hmm.
to um to Clash. So yeah, but I think they have to do Wembley personally.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is a massive change on the wrestling landscape, and I think it's going to be very interesting to follow what happens over the next 6 months. I think, because there were rumors today about SmackDown, Fox potentially not being interested in SmackDown anymore because of the amount of money that is wanted for it. So it could become either Disney or Amazon.
Interesting.
I don't know if that would be an extra subscription, um, like obviously I get Disney Plus and Amazon. Would I be able to access it on that, or would it be something where you have to pay like an upgraded
Yeah,
subscription model?
a bit like what Fight TV do.
Yeah,
You pay $4.99 for Fight TV, but then you maybe pay £10 a month for AW on top of that, for example.
yeah, basically. So
Yeah.
obviously you get, yeah, it's like a tier approach, isn't it? Almost, you
Yeah.
get your basic tier, then your top tier, and potentially like a sports tier or something.
It'd make it a lot
Um,
more accessible for everyone if
yes,
it
and
goes
it
on a streaming service. Because, I mean, over here in the UK, apart from getting the reruns, unless you're willing to stay up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning to watch SmackDown or Raw, you can't watch it on the network.
no, because it's a
So,
month later, isn't it?
so you're relying on the reruns on a Saturday morning, or
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
you could do an on
it's not the
demand for it, that'd
yeah.
be incredible. So Dave Meltzer that actually reported this, and he said there's a feeling with it that Fox is not going to go for the 300 million, which is what WWE are trying to get out of SmackDown, or more, and that Disney or Amazon are probably the two companies most in contention for it. And if it's Disney, I brought up ABC or probably FX. I haven't read the rest of the article, but yeah. So Dave Meltzer is sort of reporting that it's most likely to be one of those two that
Mm.
interested. Fox aren't for the 300 million. But yeah, and again, it's the day they put it on because obviously TV companies will have different ideas. Currently, it's on a Friday. SmackDown's the only one I could see moving because obviously we've had it on a Tuesday, we've had it on a Thursday, we've had it on a Friday. Raw, I
I
think, will always be a Monday because it's
I think a
the
Friday
flagship show.
works well for it
No,
because
I agree. I think Friday's the best day.
for your pay-per-view the following day, it just makes sense.
Yeah, I
Especially
agree.
and especially for your big weekends, because you have Friday SmackDown, and then you've got WrestleMania, for example, Saturday,
Yes,
Sunday. On your Monday, you've got your Fallout for Raw.
yeah,
So
agreed.
works
It
well.
makes it a nice sort of 3-4 day process. Like, but if they are going to move it because of TV channels or the companies buying SmackDown, um, then that could be one of the issues. So Lou's joined us. He is currently eating, so I won't introduce him.
Yes.
Here he is, the
Here he is.
ever-present,
Here
well-renowned
he is. Look at this.
Scoop.
Look at this honey and sriracha chicken.
Oh, I love sriracha. So just to bring you up to date, we've just been talking about the merger.
Yep.
And obviously, we are now talking about what that could impact. And Dave Meltzer has reported that WWE are after 300 million for SmackDown, and Fox probably won't be interested at that price, but it could be Disney or Amazon. So we're just talking about sort of the model they could go down. So we've discussed like a higher paid premium tier, potentially one of those subscription services. And obviously, SmackDown is currently on a Friday. I've just sort of suggested that that could move again because obviously we've seen Tuesday and Thursday and Friday night SmackDowns before. And me and Aaron were just saying how we do like Fridays as well for SmackDown because of the way it feeds into the pay-per-view weekend.
I read, and this was a couple of that was really good. Like I listened to it all. Like it was fun being a listener. I listened to it from my
There you
kitchen.
go.
It was like
I wasn't sure if you could hear us or if you'd
it was like listening to an actual wrestling podcast. I know I'm joining a fucking ruiner.
No, don't worry.
Sriracha chicken. Bullshit. I read a few months ago an interview with Nick Khan, and he had the sacrilegious, I think it's sacrilegious at least, suggestion that they may move Raw if the right network is paying the right price.
Ooh, see, I was, as you probably just heard, I was sort of suggesting I could see Raw being Mondays forever because it is the flagship show. But that would be a spanner in the works. It's Monday Night SmackDown.
Do you think it's the flagship show now?
I don't. What I mean by that is it's the one that everybody knows, isn't it? They view it as their flagship show. It's I think it still gets bigger views than SmackDown because of the. Does it not anymore?
No, not for a long time.
But everybody, if you say wrestling, everyone says Raw, don't they? I think 9 times out of 10, you would probably say Raw over SmackDown if you're a casual fan. But and everyone knows that associates it with the Monday and has done for the last 31 years. So it would be interesting if they did move it.
Yeah, to put it on to make it UK terms, I would say that SmackDown is basically on the equivalent of like Channel 4, Channel 5.
Okay.
And Raw is on like Sky One.
Right. Okay. So that's why it's to do with the views.
Yeah, okay, but you pay a bit more, but it's still kind of widely accessible.
That makes sense. Makes sense. But yeah, so I would be very shocked at that, but I also wouldn't be surprised now. There's a whole new company that goes with it. But if Amazon or Disney did get it and we could watch sort of it on an on-demand service rather than having to wait for our TV times, would we be interested in that as a model?
I think I'd keep up with weekly shows more than what I do.
Yes, I think it'd be more. It's more accessible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lou, you tend to watch the weeklies a little bit more than the rest of us, don't you?
Yeah, they are available on demand on BT if you know where to look. They don't make a big deal about it, but they're still there. SmackDown's a lot easier for UK folk to watch because you've got all weekend to watch it, haven't you? Like, where do you fit 3 hours?
Well, yeah. I think
on
that's
a Monday night or Tuesday morning,
thing,
I guess, for us.
That's the other thing that Raw is 3 hours. It's quite a big amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love for that to go back down. If it ends up on network TV, I think because they do the cable news.
They do the 2 hours.
Yeah, I think they do the news at 10 o'clock, which is why SmackDown's
like we do
stuck
here.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would be ideal.
Don't get indigestion.
I think, yeah. The other thing as well is UFC has a big deal with ESPN already, which is owned by Disney.
Okay, so that could link into, like I say, I've not read this full article from Meltzer. I've only just sort of picked out a few key points.
Meltzer don't give you that in-depth analysis that I do. No, nonsense. But yeah, they've got the kind of model you talked about earlier. They've got the UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah,
where you get the smaller shows, but you also get like other cage fighting or MMA promotions with there. But the big UFC numbered shows, traditional pay-per-view. So
yeah.
That's the negative to it because I mean over here, what's the pay-per-view like? 20 quid max?
Is it 30? I'm not sure. 20, 30 quid.
Yeah, I think in the US
I couldn't even tell you last time I've paid for a pay-per-view because obviously we've had the network from day dot really over here. Whenever that was 10 years, is it? Maybe no, it's not 10 years, is it? Is it
2014? So close to it, yeah.
Is it? Bloody hell!
Well, when it came out in America.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, because the first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 30. And it's WrestleMania 40.
Bloody hell. Wow.
Here's a question.
Sorry,
obviously, we've got the network for WWE. UFC, they've got their own network. Could we see some sort of merger as like a TKO network and you have a tiered layout within that?
Take my next question of what do we see happening with the network? I could probably see that happening, to be fair, some sort of amalgamation between the two.
And it'd be good because you could, I don't know, you pay maybe 10 quid a month and you get your weekly shows, and then you maybe pay 20 quid, 30 quid a month and you get, or 20 quid to get your WWE shows, an extra tenner on top. You might get all the UFC shows as well. Could do some sort of tiered.
I think you get a lot more people interested in each product as well if you could bring the two together. I think it would be a really good business move. Like I say, I was just about to ask about the network anyway, because obviously that changed to Peacock. Was it a couple of years ago now? It's been Peacock. So it's a slightly different from the model we have here in the UK. However, I don't know when that Peacock deal's due to end, but there's potentially some change on that. And again, we've obviously a lot of stakeholders and shareholders have now got to be appeased, haven't they, rather than just what is best for one single company. So again, I wouldn't be surprised whenever that Peacock deal is due that we see some form of change to that. But as you say, Aaron, I think that would be a really good way to do it. You could either pay for a wrestling subscription, a UFC subscription, or a higher tier for both. I think that would be really good. What I don't want them to do, and worry that they could do, is you have to pay more to get your pay-per-views involved as well.
I wouldn't be adverse to that if you was paying like 10 quid a month for your weekly shows, and then I don't know, it was an extra 5 or 10 quid to get all your pay-per-views as well. I wouldn't be adverse to that.
The good thing would be if they could get the weekly shows on there quicker than the month, but I understand why they've got to do that as well at the moment.
Yeah, obviously if it goes across to Disney or Amazon, you've potentially got a bit more leeway there.
Yes. I mean, just slightly away from wrestling, Amazon have done really good stuff with football, and I would love to see them do some sort of similar thing where you could just choose to watch the wrestling while it's on live and sort of choose what you watch when you want to watch it as well, kind of as it's going on. I think that'd be really good because I think the way they've done that is brilliant. I know it's easier to do with football because you've got lots of games at the same time, but something similar to some sort of similar model to that, I think would be brilliant as well.
It'd be cool if they brought back those network specials, like not full pay-per-views, but like Beast in the East or live at Madison Square Garden. Or Do you remember they did one called
there
like
was
Smackville? It was just like a random house show in Nashville that they decided to put on telly.
and then there was a Shield one as well, wasn't there?
Yeah,
The
it was
final
just a house
Shield
show.
one.
At the last minute, they
I
decided
don't
to put
think
them
I
on.
don't think I've seen that Smackville one.
It wasn't very good. It was like an hour. It was just a house show where they just shit Michael Collins, stuck him ringside, and just commentated on like free matches within the house show.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite cool. To be fair,
That'd be a pretty cool feature.
You could sort of watch like one house show a week if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's like the Superstar Spectacle India. Like, why the hell is that not?
Yeah, I don't get why that's not on the network. It makes sense for
Yeah.
that to be on the network. Especially with what we were saying earlier, they're probably going to try and venture into new markets, and India is one of those. Why would you not want to do that? But
I just thought the perfect show to bring back.
Go on then.
Raw Underground.
Yes.
Couldn't you? You could have mixed buddy roster.
Yeah. To be fair, that's the sort of thing that they could do as a network only show. Because I think Shane originally wanted to do that with ECW, didn't he, back in the day? Sort of make it an internet only thing. And I think
be able to bring Shane back though, because if just said if Shane comes back, he is leaving the company.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that we bring Shane back. Thank. I think
that'd be good though. I'd bring Shane back in
the
brawl for all. Yeah, in the brawl for all.
In the brawl
Shane
for all.
McMahon versus Daniel Cormier or something first round. Get all these old UFC dudes. Bring back like fucking Ken Shamrock and shit.
The thing if they did that though as well is because it's not on the network. They could do it to their own taste. They could go as wild with it or as adult and edgy with it as they wanted to without being sort of constrained to a network and sponsors. So it could be, but I don't know how easy that will be to do. What I really hope we don't end up is the drizzling shits of the early 2010s.
What I think it could form into is Roman Reigns versus Conor McGregor, the fight we've been waiting for years. That's been going on Twitter.
I've not seen that going off, but I can believe that.
It was a couple of years ago now, but Conor McGregor tweeted Roman Reigns.
I think there would be there'd be money in that. Right, staying with Raw, we had a return last night. A lady that returned in this year's Rumble. Yeah. Was it this year's Rumble?
Yeah.
She's not like most girls. She is Nia Jax. Thoughts, opinions, go. I
love it.
See, it could go one of two ways. I think if they booked her as a monster heel, I think it'd be really good. However, the problem is the history she's got with her in-ring style and how she injures people. If they've eliminated that, it could be a really good thing.
Did you see her come back?
No, I've not.
Yeah, they've not eliminated that.
Oh God. Oh God.
She was kind of nailed on with it. So like it was just a face and like her hands, she couldn't move them. Just give her some fucking laid door slaps in straight away. She like she owed him money.
She does the Samoan drop now as well, doesn't she?
Yeah. Do you know what would be great? Just absolute banner. Because that was the last Vince show. They just never mention that again. Like next week. They turn it from Raw. Rhea's like, yeah, I'm still dominant. That happened. They just don't mention Nia Jax at all. It's just like one final prank from Vince.
She just disappears forever.
Yeah, that was it. Vince just did it just to fuck with everyone. And they never mentioned it again.
I mean, that would be funny. Like I say, if they booked her correctly as a monster heel, it could work out quite well. But from what you've just said and what I worry that it's probably going to go the same way that it did before.
No, I think it's fine because it's hard to get actual heat, and I think you can't get heat by being a good heel now. You've got to get heat by being a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
So that's
and they've changed the music up as well.
Have they?
Yeah, it's yeah, because I quite liked her one. It's similar, but it's a bit more dancey, I think. So it's a bit newer.
Bit more up tempo.
Hop, hep, and fresh. Aaron, you're very quiet on this. We know you don't particularly like Nia Jax.
It's fucking dog shit. She's not money, is she?
No, I'm surprised they brought her back.
She's the most unsafe wrestler in the women's division. She's fucking dog shit. She can't move in the ring. She's unsafe. Why?
She was looking at...
And like Lou said, if you're going to bring someone like that back, you bring her back as a monster heel, but Rhea's the heel.
Yeah, this is what I don't. This is another thing I don't understand.
Awful booking.
You've
Awful
essentially
booking.
got heel versus heel.
Mhm.
I know
Why would you do that?
Rhea is very over with the Judgment Day. However, they're still a heel group.
Unless she joins the bloodline.
I don't think there's any room for her. I don't know what she'd do in
No,
there.
I don't think she. I don't think she will either.
Because unless
I was just prodding that little hornet's nest.
Yeah,
because
they got
everyone in the bloodline can wrestle, so should be the odd man, wouldn't she?
I mean, it's good to see Nia Jax back in a way, but I think what we're all we wish it was Sasha Banks.
I think I'd rather see Sasha Banks.
I would rather see Sasha Banks than Nia Jax.
Ross and here. I couldn't get any. I got no fish there. That was I pulled my hook up,
and you got
it's completely empty.
I would rather see the Fabulous Moolah wrestle current state, current state, than watch Nia Jax. 100%.
In kayfabe, Vince, Shax, Mae Young.
What they should have done is brought Nia Jax back as the Hand. That's a great gimmick. I think she'd have got over. She might actually be over. Don't need to wrestle because she's just in a massive hand suit.
But I think she signed, was it last month she re-signed? Which is what we were sort of going back to, wasn't it? About now we might start sort of seeing more people returning, because there was been rumours or sort of about AOP being back with Paul Ellering, which I think would be decent.
No, because they're dog shit as well.
I thought really liked them. I thought they were really good. I thought they were great in NXT. I thought they were great in NXT. Once they lost Paul Ellering, I thought they were just done for.
They had some great matches, but then again, they're up against DIY. DIY's back though, aren't they? Sort of. So actually,
kind of.
If they get the right team against them, people who can fly around them, just bumping left, right, and center.
Yeah. Again, they got in. I think one got injured, came back, and then the other one got injured, didn't they? They didn't have the smoothest of runs.
Yeah, they tried to set up their own company.
I was going to say, with them coming back, Nia Jax coming back. If WWE bought World Entertainment Series, Wrestling Entertainment.
Well, there's another one, isn't there? Carlito's apparently been signed, and they've got nothing for
3 months ago.
Was he in part of Wes?
No.
Let's say yes.
I suspect we probably won't be far away from seeing those teams. I'm surprised they've got nothing for Carlito, because
it's probably a good thing they don't have people for anything for them right now, because it shows they're kind of bucking a bit longer term. Obviously Eric Young was going to come back with Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt got sick and Vince came back and he left. But
I was going to say, I think Vince,
they signed him about 6 months ahead of knowing what they were going to do. So,
but I think Carlito could easily slot into a US title or IC title level.
Yeah, well, he needs to win it on his first. Otherwise, what are we doing here? First night, he needs to win it. Just carry the tradition. Maybe he could beat Dom for the NXT North American.
That would be a good shout.
That'd be a cool way to do it.
That'd be a really good shout.
If he ain't beating Gunter, that'd be a bit rubbish, to be honest. And
that wouldn't be very good.
The Rey Mysterio,
that would make sense for the LWA stuff. Would you have to backlash? So that's the sort of level he could fit in at, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he gets there.
Bear in mind, you've still got Nick Aldis as well. He's been signed.
He's been producing, hasn't he? I think more than wrestling, but I think
there's a reason for it though, because it was on a hiring ban. So Triple H brought him back as a producer.
I think he'd be books. Again, I think he could easily fit into that sort of US title, IC title level to start with.
MVP came back as a producer, didn't he? And then ended the wrestling.
True.
Yeah, but I think back to Nia Jax, they booked themselves into a hole. Excuse the pun. Because we're talking about Nia Jax. My hole. They booked themselves into a hole because they've not built anyone to Rhea's level other than Raquel, who they just beat. So they've had to do it really. They've had to pull something out of the bag.
The women's division has been a bit weak in the last few months, I would say.
It's probably a big sign that Sasha Banks is going to AEW, because I assume that's what they'd have wanted.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose has teased a return to wrestling.
Mandy Rose. I heard this on the grapevine, but I believe she shut down her fan time and opened an OnlyFans. So people think she's gone. Because I think she was teasing it. She was like, I'm closing my fan time, and then boom, she's on OnlyFans. I imagine. I heard off the record. Ross, tell me.
Interesting.
At this point, we need Alexa Bliss back. I know she's on, obviously, maternity.
Yeah.
I personally don't see her coming back. Speaking of people that are probably done with WWE, Gable Steveson, he was like the next big thing, wasn't he?
Mhm.
He appeared, was it at WrestleMania 30?
2 or 1?
No, not 201. 30, that was 37?
Oh yeah, I'm like 4 behind, I think. What I was thinking.
What was that weird Rumble that weird one where he just turned up?
I think it was either WrestleMania 36 or 37.
Where it was 38.
Was it 38?
It was Dallas, right?
Was it that
Yes.
soon? I thought
Yeah, it was,
I
because
thought it was longer than
36
that.
was COVID, 37 was
Tampa.
Yeah, so it was 38. So he just sort of turned up, didn't he? Then was drafted to Raw,
Mhm.
never appeared on Raw, disappeared, appeared on NXT, fought Baron Corbin, was crap by all accounts, and has now been removed from the NXT roster.
And he's been
Then he had a house show match the next night.
What, after being removed from the roster?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I genuinely didn't know that.
He's also pulled out of the World Wrestling Championships, hasn't he?
I think they're gonna repackage him.
Well, he was getting chance, wasn't he, of just a shit cat angle?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
He's just not good, though, is he?
Yeah, but they don't need him to be a cat angle because they've got
Chad Gable for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They should.
What they've hooked onto is that gold medal thing, haven't they?
Yeah, which is the mistake. They should be treating him like a Lashley character because Lashley was an accomplished amateur wrestler, and he couldn't do the cat angle stuff, so didn't bother. He just did big beefy boy moves.
Just, I don't know, like how tall he is or anything, but he doesn't look. He looks like quite a big guy, doesn't he? In the way that he's built and stuff. He looks like a wrestler. It's just trying to get that out of him if they really want it to work. And I think that's going to be the hard point, isn't it? So actually just getting that out of him because he
should be a Lashley or a Brock, not a cat angle.
Not a cat angle. Yeah, agreed. He needs to be like the muscle, doesn't he? Almost of somebody. But yeah, he's only 23 though, so there's quite a bit of time left.
Yeah.
There is quite a bit.
I'll tell you what, though, they signed 2 gold medalists there, didn't they? They signed, I can't remember her name now, which is going to go right against my point, but I think they should be pushing her. She seems more of a wrestling fan and less problematic.
Yeah,
shall we say? So to just avoid that elephant in the room.
We'll gloss over that bit as well.
But I can't remember her name, but I think they're onto a star with her. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, because when did he actually last appear on TV then? It was at the Great American Bash, wasn't it?
Tamira Menterstock, who signed in May 2023.
Has she been on TV?
She's not been on TV yet, no.
Right, okay. I think the NXT Women's Division seems to have faltered a little bit as well compared to what it was when Mandy Rose was there as well.
Becky Lynch is there tonight.
Well, that's true. As we record
this, yeah, she'll be the women's champion by the time this goes out, I reckon.
Tiffany Stratton?
Yes.
She's against Tiffany Stratton. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that would be just inject somebody new into it. What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? But I would be interested to see how long he has left with WWE if it doesn't go well. Because how long did he sign a contract for? With NXT, I don't think it was that. Oh, WWE, I don't think it was actually ever announced.
He signed it's called a next in line contract.
Yeah, that's like basically NXT level up, isn't it? It's like the bottom of the bottom.
So it's the equivalent of
is it like
being like a college athlete still, but they're sponsoring him. So it's because there's a controversy about college.
It's almost like a rookie contract.
Yeah, sort of. So it's you can do amateur sports, so you can compete in collegiate, like the national championships, whatever he's in for actual amateur wrestling. It's because obviously there's a big controversy in American sports that collegiate athletes were kind of having loads of money made off of Mr. South Park episode, if anyone's seen it. But because they were strictly amateurs, they weren't allowed to take any of it. So next in line's like a legal thing where it's basically you can be an amateur athlete, but you get sponsored by a company, so you still get paid like you would, because the like college footballers play in front of like hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of people.
College football is almost bigger than the NFL.
Yeah,
like
and they never made a penny out of that. So
ridiculous.
it was to stop that basically.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because like you say, I think like 103,000 people like turn up to college football. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose that sort of links into why still, for example, Stevenson was wrestling at the Open Wrestling Championships as well. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, the only person who could be an amateur and a pro wrestler at the same time is Joe Hendry.
Yes.
Yep.
Where are we going from here? We'll move over to the blue brand. Hang on. Have I misread my notes? Yeah, we'll move over to the blue band. Zila Fatu is no longer with Reality of Wrestling. I'm saying we'll move over to the blue band. Do we think he's going to turn up?
Apparently, what Booker T has said on his podcast is that he left because due to unconcilable disagreements. So basically, neither side could come to agreement. Apparently, Fatu is very difficult to work with. And that's the reason, that's the rumour why he's left. Or being released, one or the other.
Yeah, let's just put it that way. That's what he said. And then Meltzer said that he had his first match on July the 15th this year. So it'd be quite a big jump for him, to be fair, if he's only just had his first match. You could tell he's composed. You know we had this thing in wrestling where we say if you feel like you're going slow, move a little bit slower. He had that effect going on. His quickness, his explosiveness was definitely there. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe ends up with some sort of developmental deal, potentially one of those deals that we were just sort of talking about that Stevenson's got.
Reality of Wrestling is one of the developmental.
I was going to say, yeah, if he's
is that actually officially linked to them?
Yeah,
the NXT guys turn up at the shows. I don't think it's quite where OVW was, but it's more like do you remember Lawler's territory? You probably don't, because I
Memphis.
Back in like 94 when he used to send people like Angle actually.
Oh,
I think it's a bit like that, where it's not an official one, but they've got a deal, like they've got kind of bucket look after this guy for a bit.
Got you. That's my misunderstanding.
Anyway, but not everyone who works there is connected to WWE. But they can take people from there.
Probably want to keep an eye on them, but I mean, if he has got a bad attitude and he sorts that out, he comes from a good family of wrestlers, so it'd be interesting to see how that one develops. And then last but certainly no means WWE least, the Dudley Boys have signed Legends contracts. I'm surprised it's taken this long, but I guess they were. Didn't Devon Devon was there, wasn't he? As a producer.
Yeah.
And then Bubba Ray's been in Impact, hasn't he? Because
they've both just been in Impact.
Impact 1000, haven't they?
Yeah.
But they fall out for a little bit?
No, they both debunked them rumours.
Oh, did they? I was going to say now they're friends again, right? Okay.
No, there was never not friends. Just people on typical wrestling fans just making assumptions. They debunked them rumours about 6 months ago, I think.
Yeah, I heard that well, when I say I heard they debunked them, I heard that they were sort of back talking again, but I didn't realise that they never weren't. Makes sense to sign to Legends contracts again. I think the two names that everybody knows if you've watched wrestling.
I think it's fucking disgrace for me.
Why is that?
Because it's stopping us get the TLC rematch that Tony Khan was clearly planning on booking in AEW. He had the Hardys. It's just signed Christians to a new contract. Edge is probably going to get a deal now. CM Punk's gone. All he needed was the Dudleys. And we were going to get TLC, I don't know what it is, 4, 5.
4, 5, yeah.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
Oh my.
Don't say never. RVD's on a Legends contract and he's just appeared in AEW.
That is true,
That's
actually.
true.
So it could still happen. I want to see him do it, but wait till a bit older. So there's like a ladder for a stair lift going up it.
Well, they need to do it soon, because I don't think Jeff Hardy's got long left.
And well, to be fair, Devon had a stroke, didn't he? I know he came back, didn't he? But I don't think he can actually wrestle.
I don't know. They'll do a couple bit. They'll appear at some point where they down on. Imperium or something.
Yeah,
Devon's-
that's what we wanted.
Devon's 51, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
How old's Bubba? Bubba Ray is...
Hang on, Devon's 51.
And Bubba is 52.
Right, wait for
Ah.
this fact, right? You all believe it. But
Bobby
Bobby Lashley is
Lashley.
47.
Knew that was coming.
Get fucked. It's only 4 years in between them two.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Genuine Devon, 1st of August 1972. He's only just turned 51 as
You
well.
can tell Lashley was never in a fucking TLC match,
He's
guys.
only just turned 51.
Bloody hell.
And Bubba Ray turned 52 in July.
Well, get the rematch booked.
Yeah.
They're all spring
Wow.
chickens.
Wow.
Sting's all on that. He still goes.
Sting's in 60s, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sting. Sting
Yeah.
is 64. He's 65 next month.
Yeah. And then they could do a reunion at TLC 3 because they got Jericho and never mind. But yeah, TLC 1 or 2.
Whoa.
Could be good. Yeah.
But yeah, so they've been signed to Legends deals. Right, we are going to move over to AEW. So we will start with collision rating. So obviously, after CM Punk was sacked, was it released with cause? Was that the official termination last week? I can't remember the way they phrased it, but once that had been announced as collision got on air, ratings dropped to about 19%. Something like that. So ratings are up this week from 345,000 to 476,000. So that's an increase of 131,000. I'm not surprised it's gone back up again because I think everyone will have been wanting to tune in to see what they've done with CM Punk last week.
No, I don't think it seems to do that. I think 99.9% of the reason is people watching Payback.
Yeah, that's because it was on at the same time. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. I think people will have wanted to see what happened with CM Punk, and then obviously once that's happened, see how they dealt with it.
It's still piss poor ratings, aren't they? You think when like Dynamite first came around, it was doing like what 1.2, 1.3?
I think it's
not even doing half of that. I know it's the second show, like the B show.
I think it's on the wrong night, personally. I think Saturday nights are a hard night to get something like that on. Purely because
wrestling fans don't have a social life, do they? To stay on a Saturday night. So
goodbye, all our listeners.
No, it's true. It is true.
I know.
If you're a network, like put wrestling on instead of I don't know. You're going to put I don't know what's popular. Big Brother is winning the ratings over there. I know, which is insane to me.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are we, 2002?
Hey, it's come back over here,
isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, on ITV2.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Speaking of ratings, have you seen what this suggested buys are for All In? Also pretty piss poor. Meltzer seems to think it's somewhere between 73 and 96. I know that's quite a big.
But All In?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it'd be more than that.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more than... I was going to say, well, that's because it's the week after, but that was all out, wasn't it?
That's about as many buys as people were there. If you take the middle ground.
Yeah.
Oh, does that include ones that were bought later or ones that were bought and watched live?
That's the estimate.
That's weird, really. I'm surprised at that. I thought I could understand that if it was all out, like a week after, but yeah, that's...
I mean, I don't know how much effect it has because I don't know how many people buy it in the UK, but I guess it was on free TV in the UK.
Yeah, because we can watch it now up until December, can't we?
Yeah.
So whether that's affecting it.
Oh, is it up until December?
Yeah, I'm sure I read it's on.
Oh, excellent. Good. So I can watch it before our review when it finally happens.
I've rewatched it. Took me 4 days.
I've watched about half of it, I think.
I've watched the first hour. So
yeah, I've watched about half of it.
I tuned out when CM Punk went off screen. That's what I do. That's the type of person I am.
Well, you are CM Punk. But collision ratings increasing. I think the books have been showing up since Punk left. It seems to be sort of a mixture of Ring of Honor and other Dynamite people with a little sprinkling of collision. So FTR are back on there, aren't they now?
Yeah, we got into this a little bit last week, didn't we? And Lou was basically saying that they've kind of cancelled the brand split now.
Yeah, that was really only in place, wasn't it, to keep Punk and the Elite away from each
Yeah,
other.
it was, but a lot of feedback online, I've not seen Collision, but a lot of feedback was that it felt the same as Dynamite this week, and that was a bad thing.
I think
Yeah, it
that's
is a
going to
bad
be their
thing.
biggest issue because I think
Because that's how Rampage felt, right?
yeah,
when people used to watch
from
that.
from what I've understand, Collision is you don't go to Collision for it's a bit more, how do I put this? Well rounded in the way that it's presented. Like it's got really good wrestling on it, and there's not a lot of silly stuff and massive segments in it. Whereas I think that's what's hurting Dynamite is that it's got a few silly bits in it, quite a lot of segments. And there was actually some storylines that were being sort of presented, whereas Dynamite tends to be just sort of almost like dream matches or matches that don't really have much build to them. So whether that changes now, we'll wait and see. If the ratings continue to be low, what sort of deal did they sign? I don't really know lengthwise because that could be interesting.
It was an extension on their current deal rather than a new deal.
Right. Okay.
So I think they've got a couple of. I think they renew next year. I think they'll be fine. Just because Warner Bros. Seems to be putting a lot into them.
I don't think they'll get dropped.
Them is that if Warner Bros. Think, you know what, actually we fancy WWE.
Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that Warner Brothers are going to drop AEW entirely. What I was sort of getting at is that they sort of drop Collision. It has to go somewhere else, or then does Collision just die?
I think the deal at the moment, because they had to get rid of Dark as well. The deal AEW have got is they make a TV show. It has to be on their network.
Right.
It has to be on a Warner Bros. Network.
So it could be any day of the week then, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think for them, because wrestling's quite cheap, Warner Bros. Don't need high ratings. They just need it to be more cost effective than putting a rerun of Friends on or something.
Yeah.
Or Big Bang Theory, I think, is the one they have on all the channels, right?
It
Or
will
Practical Jokers.
It will be interesting to watch to see how it goes on. Oh, excuse me, over the next couple of months, considering we are only 13 episodes in. This week is episode number 14. Yeah, so but like I say, I've heard that Collision is meant to be better than Dynamite anyway, so hopefully that gets back to what it was doing. Staying with AEW, unsurprisingly, a Steel was released by AEW. I don't think anyone will be surprised by that.
No.
Nope.
It's coming, won't it?
Yeah. Well, considering he was released and then sort of brought back to work from home to be released again. Lou, any thoughts?
Sorry, I got a chance to completely miss that one.
Just saying how unsurprising it is that A Steel has been released in the Fallout.
Yeah, sure. It's it came back to bite him.
Hey, should Jack Perry be fired? So he is suspended indefinitely as it stands at the moment.
Yes.
I don't see them getting rid of him because I think he's an original, isn't he, of AEW?
He's a pillar, no less.
He is. I think if they were going to get rid of him, they'd have probably done it by now. I think they wanted to sort the Punk stuff out first and then looked at him very shortly after. But
I think he's potentially done. Also,
what in AEW?
I think he's done. And if he's done with AEW, I don't think anyone would touch him because he's not a big enough name.
No,
I think they're just keeping the Punk people happy by keeping him suspended.
Yeah, I don't see him being.
What would you fire him for? I guess we don't know what happened backstage, do we?
That's half the problem. We don't know what happened, do we?
Well, no. So what? Basically, Eric Bischoff's come out and said he was out for himself because obviously he's gone to the camera in an unscripted part of the match where he's obviously said it's real glass, cry me a river. Road Dogg's come out and summed it up perfectly, I think. He said it's just small wall mentality. He's just out for himself. Just wanted to cause aggro. But apparently, prior to that, by all accounts, a lot of people have come out and said this. Apparently, Punk was very jovial with everyone backstage, including the Bucks. Chatting to everyone. said to the book, "Go on, come on, let's go and make history." And then I think Jack Perry's actions have just fucking tipped him.
Yeah. I think I like CM Punk, but I said it last week. I think he needs to be able to react to stuff without violence. I mean, it's taking Jack Perry in good faith. He might have done that, trying to get himself a program with CM Punk.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know,
Yeah.
AEW tends to do the reality-based storylines when it fits, except for the biggest one, which is just avoided, which is annoying. But
Okay, so question: Jack Perry's in AEW and does in WWE and does that exact same little unscripted segment during a match. He'd be gone.
Yeah, but I think AEW haven't got that. More people do it. Like that was a very CM Punkish thing to do. Like the elite do all their nonsense. So I think Tony Khan needs to either sit everyone down, like, come on, lads, like, you need to stop it now. This is your last chance, and then fire the next person who does it. But I think if you're Jack Perry, you'd be very unlucky to get fired for that, given that's what the company's kind of built off at the moment. I think WWE have got a very strict. You say what we say. Like they're a bit looser now on the promos and stuff, but it's kind of like you say what we say.
Especially
AEW's been a bit looser, so it's
Especially considering what CM Punk said at All Out last year and didn't get fired for when he's going off at management. I think I don't. And
is he wrong though?
I'm not suggesting I'm not saying he was right or wrong, but I'm just saying that if you're going to go off at management, and you don't get fired for it, I don't understand how you can fire somebody for what Jack Perry has done. If he is let go, could go to Impact. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe found a way there. Because I think he would fit in quite well there. I don't think he'd go to WE ever, but I think, or NWA potentially. I don't think he would be done in wrestling. I think he would just end up at one of those two. But I think he'll be. I think he'll be back within. Probably, I don't think you'll see him this year. I think probably next year you'll see him now.
And Big Tony loves his licensed music. So what I would do, Mega Heat, Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River. Yeah, Cry Me a River. And then he walks out. His music's rubbish anyway, so it needs to improve.
Yeah, bring back Jungle Boy.
Makes perfect sense. Glass should shatter first.
Glass should shatter. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
The longer he's away, the more he should come back as a babyface, and go with Tarzan Boy. But if he comes back in the next month or so,
yeah, he's definitely needs to be here.
Big old heel. When are next in Chicago? A week before Thanksgiving.
He should definitely come out to Cult of Personality.
Yeah, it's too much.
In Chicago. Oh, that'd be amazing.
That would
be amazing.
Yeah, if you could, you might as well lead into it.
Yeah, that would be incredible. So yeah, interesting times ahead with Jack Perry. Like I say, whether he will be fired or not remains to be seen. I don't think he will be personally because of what's happened. And last but not least, did CM Punk actually quit rather than be fired?
This is loose scoop early this week.
Go on, Luke.
Scoop. I don't know if I should be revealing this because it's good. I've not looked at that one. But basically,
he's found himself on a Discord.
I found myself. I was on Discords, me, and another scoops and other real people. Basically, if you believe this version of the story, Punk's just like, nice one, mate. To Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy's like, my name's Jack, not Jungle Boy. And Punk's like, all right then, mate. And then fisticuffs. And then Punk quit. So Tommy fired him. Bit like the old Dwight Schrute move. You can't quit because I'm firing you. Dwight, don't be like this. It's for the severance, idiot. I don't think that's exactly how it went down this time, but that's the general vibe. Hard to say. I don't think we'll ever know. That source that I've got now, Scoop L, family with actual real life Scoop, is very, very pro Punk. I will say that much.
I think it'll come out at some point in the near future. I think CM Punk will release some sort of statement.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's coming.
I still don't think you ever truly get down to what. Don't ever think you'll truly get to the bottom of what happened because obviously you'll have both sides.
I think there's one man who can, and that man is Conrad Thompson. You're listening to Call of Personality with CM Punk.
Oh my God, I could totally see that happening.
There we go.
I wouldn't be surprised at some point in the near future if that footage don't get leaked somehow.
Yeah,
gotta be
There'll be
there's gotta
someone
be some
somewhere.
employee. But do you know what? I think I said this last week. Meltzer's explanation of why the camera's rolling was so fucking stupid. He said they were in the interview area for football and the cameras are always rolling there. It's like, no, they're not. Why do you think Sky Sports should leave it running? There's probably a CCTV camera, but anyway.
Yeah, I was
minor
going to
thing.
say there'll be some CCTV camera somewhere, won't there?
Mm-hmm.
You'll tell me like someone who works in like Wembley's security is not going to burn that footage and make an
Whoever
absolute mint off it.
If anyone has got it, they could make themselves a very rich person right now.
Mm.
Very, very rich.
I think it'll come out at some point.
It would be interesting to watch. But if it doesn't, I don't think you ever truly get to the bottom of it because you always have two sides to the story. But I wouldn't be. But there was that rumor, wasn't there, of Punk sort of going away saying I quit.
Yeah, and I think the more we don't hear from him, I think if he goes to WWE, we won't hear what happens. If he doesn't and he decides, right, I'm out of wrestling now, he'll burn every bridge he can. I think he's that type of dude.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But I don't think you'll hear from him for a while. I think he'll just sort of not going to hiding, but just go do his own thing.
He'll turn up on that UFC commentary he does and make like really snippy remarks.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. And that is it for the news this week. Anything to plug before we go, gents?
No.
No, I thought about doing a Twitch stream the other weekend, but I didn't. So
yep. Great. That's as far as we're getting with the Twitch streams, the Twitch streams at the moment.
When it starts getting darker in the evenings, I might do it. I might do it again.
Fair, it's starting to get that way, isn't it? But yeah,
we'll see. We'll think about it.
I know what you mean. Next week, what we do next week, gents? Any idea?
Is Ross back?
Well, I think so.
Are we doing All In finally?
Possibly. Just join us next week. We'll have something on, but it should be
over there. Wrestling Society XY. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it'll be one of those two. It'll be one of those two. Joss Markham hasn't been with us for the last few weeks. He has been sunning himself somewhere on a beach, which probably means he'll be busy next week and won't join us again. But join us next week to see if he does. Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Lou, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot to ask, where can we find you both? Aaron, sorry, part of that.
I've started using Twitter a bit more now.
Where can we find you?
Frankenstein91. Just giving AW fan shit.
Excellent. Lou, where can we find you?
At Lou Markham, at Wrestling Around, where we're starting, people are starting to follow us again, which is weird. Our listenership is shooting back up. No idea why, because I've not promoted it for weeks. But it's got me back in the mood for promoting it. So
let's get the old promotion on the go.
Yeah, maybe I'll even do thumbnails again if I'm feeling really
if you're feeling a bit fruity.
Still need to share the account.
Oh yeah, I do need to find the password.
Yeah, I don't have it on my new phone either. Actually.
If it ever logs me out, I'm screwed. We'll never get back in.
I'll start getting us some interactions.
Yeah,
that sounds ominous.
Yeah, I'm not saying they'll all be good interactions. I might just start putting my opinions across, see what happens.
One way to find out.
Oh, and the other thing, onlyfans.com/BellNation as well. I've started.
Have you started that, have you?
It's just feet.
Just feet.
Yeah.
Not my feet. And on that note, you can find me at... What can you find me at? What the hell am I on Twitter? Bell Nation, aren't I? Yeah, at Bell Nation.
Sounds familiar.
Sorry, on the old X.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us. And join us again for next week here at Wrestling Around.